on the 8th of November 1912, when Gertrude Bell, the great explorer, archaeologist, creator, in effect, of modern Middle East, took stage to speak against women having the vote. She was the National Secretary of the Anti-Suffrage League. She did not believe that women should have the vote. The world would fall apart, the empire would fall apart if women had any authority. And she stood on the stage and she expressed the views, and there was a vote at the end of the evening. There was a vote, a speaker for women having a vote and a speaker against. And the against vote won that evening. The town of Middlesbrough did not want women to have the vote that evening.
We spoke to one elderly gentleman at the town meal who was in his 90s, who'd been to a concert as a schoolboy. He'd been reluctant to go, but he watched a very tall, rather gaunt person wander onto the stage and sit down at the grand piano and play astonishing music, and it was Rachmaninoff. And that brings home to you the importance of the town hall as a musical centre. And he wasn't the only musician of some note who actually performed in the town hall over the years. A lot of them are recorded on a window, which was put up to be a memorial to Felix Corbett, who was the mover and shaker of the music scene in Middlesbrough at the turn of the century. And there are 38 names on there of internationally famous musicians who've performed on that stage. And it does actually say on the window, and there were more. It's mind-blowing. They include Sir Thomas Beecham, Paderewski, Rachmaninoff, as I've already said, Shaliapin, the Russian bass, who apparently, when he came to stay in Middlesbrough to perform at the town hall, stayed in the Corporation Hotel on the opposite corner. The stories just go on about the amazing musical history, but also the human history, the boxing, the wrestling, the roller skating, the courtroom appearances, the episodes in the fire station. It's just a rich, rich scene.
It was wrestling. My first experience, I'll have been maybe 8 years old, and my eldest sister took me to see British wrestling at the town hall, and the top of the bill that night was a fella called Danny Boy Collins against Marty Jones, and it was fantastic. It changed my life. It's one of them situations where you don't realise it at that time, but you've just jumped on a path that's directing your life, and that was it when I first went to see that show. We went into it not knowing whether we were going to enjoy it or not, because that style of wrestling wasn't something I was a fan of, because it had been taken off the telly in the 80s, and this was like 1992. The American wrestling had become a massive thing on Sky TV. So I'm seeing Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, all these kind of people. But what's coming to the town hall is the British wrestling. So you go in, as a kid, I remember being excited, but I remember the adults who bought me the ticket, my sister and my parents, were sort of like, is he going to enjoy it or isn't he? You get there, packed. It was a full house, not a seat, empty. The atmosphere was up the chart. It was just so exciting. It's a lot of memories of it. It's hard to describe, actually.
Presenting first in the corner to my right, he is your #1 contender, Mean Machine, Mickey Long. Best Mass Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, the Steel City Psychopath, Contest #1 is a heavyweight contest where one fall. One submission or a knockout is going to decide your winner.
I suppose, because I've never been a football fan, so I was never like at Ayresome Park where it was absolutely chock-a-block full of people. So this, other than sort of at school, this will have been the first time I was ever in that environment where I'm shoulder to shoulder with a lot of strangers, packed. And so, yeah, the atmosphere was off the chart. It was brilliant.